Alright, we're going to look at converting decimals and fractions, and you can find this in Unit 4.3 in your textbook. This video we're going to look at converting from a decimal to a fraction. Now the method is quite simple and it's always the same every time. If you have a whole number, so any number before the decimal, you can keep that as a whole number and use it as a mixed fraction. So we just keep that the same. But for our decimal, how do we convert the decimal into the fraction? What we need to do is look at the last digit and we say, what is the place value of that last digit? Now that 8 is in the hundredths column. So that hundredth is going to become my denominator. And then I say to myself, how many parts of that do I have? And I have 28 parts. So that's 6 and 28 hundredths. Now that is converted to a fraction, but of course we need to simplify. I can see that 4 goes into 28 and 100, so I'm going to divide by 4. When I do that, I end up with 6 and 7 over 25, which can't be simplified. So I've taken that fraction, that decimal, and turned it into a fraction. Let's try one more. In this one, we don't have any whole numbers, so it's just going to be a fraction. But the process is the same. So I look at my last digit, and I say, what column is it in? What is its place value? So this is the tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. So my denominator is a 10,000. And I say, how many of them do I have? And I have 3,125. So that is my fraction. Now I don't know what the biggest number is to simplify that, because I'm not going to write out all those factors. So I'm going to simplify multiple times. Straight away I can see that I can divide by 5, because as 5 and 0 is the last numbers. So I'm going to divide by 5. When I do that, I end up with 625 over 2,000. I then can, or I could divide by 5 again, but I see that it ends in 25 and zeros, which means I can actually divide by 25. When I divide by 25, I get 25 over 80. Again, I see I'm ending in a 5 and a 0, so I'm going to divide by 5 again. And that leaves me with 5 over 16, which is as far as I can go because 5 doesn't divide down anymore. So I've converted that decimal into a fraction. So the simplifying, if you don't know how to simplify, watch the video on simplifying. But converting a decimal to a fraction, all we have to do is look at the last digit and we say, what place value is it? That then becomes our denominator. Then we look at the whole number that's in the decimals and we just put that in the numerator. And then we simplify to get our final fraction. But that is how we convert from decimals to fractions.